Hey, Wixman Ray here. We are at Saturday, February 28th, last day of February of 2026 here. All right, so I got the satellite up here for you. This is like a more global look. Not the whole globe, but they call it a global look here, global sector, anyways. I'm getting too winded here. Um, so I just wanted to show you this. We got this low pressure sitting off the actually two low pressures over the North Pacific, one just off the coast of California and the Pacific Northwest, and then another one farther back here. These will be our next two major weather makers across the U.S. as we go into next week for the next 5 to 7 days. So yeah, and so that's what's going on out there. I just wanted to show you that, kind of show you that cool view. We'll go back to our normal one we always look at here. All right, sorry about that. I'm having to do this out in my vehicle because I'm not at home today. So it's a little cramped here. Anyways, hey, so yeah, we got this is our view of the CONUS, continental United States, the RGB satellite that sits up over the equator. Anyways, so we'll start out west. We got this system moving in. This is mostly just high cloud, maybe a little bit of mid-level cloud under it. There's really no precipitation with this leading edge of moisture. Back over here, though, we've got some rain underneath these clouds up in northern California into Oregon and northwest Nevada. Is probably getting a little bit of light rain too. A pretty warm system once again. As you can see, the rest of the middle part of the country from Colorado, desert Southwest, pretty quiet. This low stuff you see down here, this lighter color, this was some fog and low stratus as we call it, and it's burning off this morning. There was a big chunk of it out here in the southeast down into Florida behind this cold front here, and that's slowly, you can kind of see it's eroding away. That should be gone by this afternoon, hopefully. Anyways, it's what, almost 2 o'clock out there, so yeah, maybe that'll be gone. The sun should burn it off pretty good. Then we got a couple thunderstorms. There's some over the Gulf here, and then looks like a little bit of thunderstorm action over parts of South Florida here. But this is the remnants of that cold front, so it's starting to wash out here. So, and then up north, we got this frontal system up here that brought in a little bit of Arctic air. It's like single digits and teens back up in here. There's also a band of light snow underneath these clouds. I'll show you that here in a minute. And then a little band, there's a low pressure that's up into Canada. That's up over Quebec, I believe, still. Anyways, there's some clouds trailing along the cold front there, because that front kind of stretches kind of something like this. There's actually two fronts. There's one farther south down in here, but it's a dry front. There's not a lot of, you can see a little bit of clouds over Missouri there, but that's kind of a weaker front. This is where the Arctic air is. So anyways, yeah, this front up here is producing a little bit of showers. Last time I looked, it was mostly rain. Temperatures are pretty warm up here right now. So, all right, move on to these are our surface weather observations. Most of these come from airports. Probably 99% of them these are observations from ASOSs for the most part. That's automated sensors that started back in the 90s. I believe it was the 90s. Yeah, I can't remember the exact year, but that's when they started putting these in and kind of phasing out all the human observers. But because I think I can't remember what year it was, before the probably mid 90s, it was pretty much everything was manned by at least most airports and everything were manned by at least a human observer. Um, we still have human observers at major airports like Salt Lake City, Atlanta, Denver. The bigger cities have them. Even Reno has They have weather observers, a human person there. So that's kind of how it's evolved. So yeah, so most of these are from reports from airports, and even tiny little airports with a little airstrip will usually have a weather observation. So yeah, so we're looking out here out west. We got some rain up here in Northern California, maybe some moderate bands near the coast, and some moderate or light rain actually up into Oregon. A little bit might be hitting the ground up here in northern Nevada, although this looks like it's pretty light. Week, it's probably mostly Virgo, which is what we call precipitation that's not reaching the ground. So, yeah, otherwise, temperatures are real nice out here, 50s and 60s. Elko, Nevada is a cold spot. They're at 39, but they've had a lot of cloud cover, that high cloud this morning, but they'll warm up as we get into the afternoon. Um, Up here in the 40s, approaching 50 in some of these places. So, pretty mild for this time of year. And you can see that cold air is up into Montana. They got some teens and 20s back here, but nothing too crazy. A little bit of cloud cover up there. Really quiet though across the west, other than this little system bringing some rain here. This may also bring a few thunderstorms up into this part of the world from northern California through northern Nevada. There could be one or two isolated thunderstorms. So if you live in those parts and you hear thunder, don't be surprised, but it's not going to be like a outbreak of thunderstorms or any by any stretch of the imagination. Down south here, Southern California, even up into Central California, it's in the 70s, 80s as you get down towards, Southern Cal. 80s down near Phoenix and Southern Arizona. Vegas is at 72, and I believe Salt Lake City was 56. Yeah. And it's warm in New Mexico, 70s and 80s, up in 60s up north by Albuquerque, but they'll warm up to 70 today. Very warm across Texas. Look at that, mostly 80s there. Some 70s popping up. Little bit of gusty winds, 25, 30, maybe 35 miles an hour in spots. So, if you're a truck driver or driving out there on the highways, you might feel a little gust of wind here and there. Stretching up into the Central Plains. This is where we get that first cold front I told you about. It's real weak. I mean, you see the temperatures are 40s and 50s up here and 60s and 70s on the other side. So there's a little bit of precip, it looks like, over Missouri where we saw those clouds, some light showers. I guess you could get a rumble of thunder. I think I saw a rumble of thunder out there under those clouds earlier today. Anyways, pretty weak system, but here's where the Arctic air is back in here. And it's not super cold. I mean, it's not like a polar vortex thing, as they call them. It's teens and single digits. It's almost near zero back here, 1 and 2 degrees above zero. Tonight it'll definitely go below zero up there. Little bands of snow from parts of North Dakota, South Dakota. Looks like some, these little bit heavier bands might produce some spurts of heavier snow at times. But you can see that there. That's trucking along. It might bring a few inches here and there, maybe a couple inches. I think maybe max 4 to 5 in some spots if they get those heavier bands. This whole thing will truck over here as we move into Sunday into this general part of the country. Um, yeah, um, Up here in the Northeast, look at that. It's in the 40s up in Maine, so this is all rain here. Yeah, so very warm for this time of year. And that's going to be they'll get a quick cool down, I believe, of Sunday into Monday, but then this whole area is going to start warming up real good next week. It'll be like that or even warmer by later next week. Okay, let me show you, see if this thing's showing any snow fall up in the last 24 hours. Yeah, this one's showing a couple inches, up to 4 inches. I got a better one I'd like to look at. If I can get this to update. Yeah, so yeah, over the last 24 hours. Yeah, there's a few 5. There was a 6 there. Well, yeah, generally 3 to 5, 2 to 5. There was a 6 to 8, so there were some heavier bands, but it's a real narrow band as you can see there. Yeah, generally, 3 to 6. So it's overperforming a little bit, I think, from what I thought. But yeah, but you guys are used to snow up there, up north. So I've got the GFS American model here pulled up here. We'll go back in time. Actually, I gotta update this to today. That was yesterday. So yeah, so it's kind of what we saw. We got that system out west, the snow up here with that reinforcing shot of cold air with the Arctic front. See, it kind of stretches like this and across here. Yeah, so you can see that rain up there in the northeast. And then here's that leftover cold front out. It's now over the Atlantic and kind of washing out over Florida. So it's kind of hinting at that. You can see this. There's a little. This is that other cold front I told you about, where there is a little precip in here. Models aren't. Yeah, they're showing some spotty stuff, but and that's kind of what it is. But there's definitely going to be some showers, maybe an isolated thunderstorm in this stuff, and that's going to get a little more active as it draws up moisture as we get into later today and to tonight. You'll see that. So, so this is tonight. You can see the rain kind of spreads across northern Utah, southern Idaho. So just some light rain. The snow levels are going to be like 10,000 feet, 9,000 worst case, but way up in the higher mountains might get a little snow, but where people live now, it's just going to rain. And you see this is washing out down here. See this? We got this little band up here. That truck's across and it'll be gone by tomorrow. Tomorrow afternoon, evening, it's moving offshore. Then you see this is what's developing. This is what we've been looking at. And that's associated with this front. And it looks like a low pressure tries to get developed. What's really happening is you got this upper level first wave that came over the Rockies with all this rain back here. That kind of goes into the plains and kind of energizes this system and picks up the moisture from a little bit of moisture from the Gulf and some good dynamics. So you're gonna get some rain, maybe some thunderstorms back here in Oklahoma. Real isolated though, and then a little bit of snow there up near Kansas City and you know south of Omaha. So looks like a narrow band though. Could be a mix of wintry mix too in some places. Looks like a pretty narrow band, but that truck's across as a Sunday night into Monday, and this is by Monday night. It kind of lingers back here over North Carolina and the Appalachians back here and into Virginia. So you might see, so you might get a few inches of snow along this. Nothing to write home about or anything. So that's kind of through Monday. So So we got this, we'll talk about this next one coming in. So this is that first system out west. Then we got this low pressure. Whoops. Gosh dang it, Ray. Okay. This low pressure will move on shore Sunday, late Sunday into Monday. And most it'll bring a little bit cooler air underneath it. The upper levels has some cooler air, so that'll drop the snow levels probably around 6,000 feet or so. So some of the higher valleys out here will see snow, but mostly rain below 6,000 feet. And that's so this is going into Tuesday, so that starts moving into Utah and Colorado, parts of Wyoming. Snow levels will probably be around the same. They may be 5 to 6,000. So in a lot of these valleys out here, with the exception of maybe the Salt Lake Valley, they'll probably just stay rain. But all the mountains will see some snow. So I mean, it's not going to be a lot, but it's going to help with the snowpack to some degree. And as this system exits the Rockies, you see this low pressure forming out here in eastern Colorado, and a warm front kind of stretches to the east. So that kind of picks up all this moisture, and this is going to be a pretty warm system. There'll be still some wintry mix up in Pennsylvania, maybe parts of West Virginia, but the warm air starts moving in. So this is by Tuesday evening, afternoon, evening time frame. So we've got a lot of rain breaking out from Nebraska, Missouri, all the way to the east, with a little bit of snow up in the northeast now. That snow will kind of linger back in Colorado through Tuesday night before it's gone. And this low gets a little stronger, it deepens as we call it, and it'll move up into northern Missouri, southern Iowa by Wednesday, during the day on Wednesday. This will probably be some thunderstorm activity along this front, showers and thunderstorms. I guess you can't rule out any severe, but it's a little far out to call that right now. But so it could be like at least a marginal risk or something, maybe higher. We'll see. Then you got the warm front. Looks like some heavier rains back up in here into near Chicago over into southern Michigan. So yeah, so look at how warm this system gets. I mean, all this warm air is, like I told you, it's going to warm back up here into the northeast. And this is Wednesday night into Thursday morning. So mostly rain coming in. And this system starts to weaken as it moves east on Thursday, but you still have a lot of rain from, say Arkansas all the way up to the northeast United States. And then, yeah, in this one, they'll still have some spotty rain back in this area. And then we got another system developing on. This is on the day, during the day on Thursday in the northern plains. There'll be some snow. It looks like some pretty significant snow probably up into North Dakota, South Dakota, and then that moves off into Canada. And like I said, the warm weather is going to stay across most of the continental United States. A little colder air behind this back into this region by the end of the week. But yeah, now this one, this is looking like it could be a setup for some thunderstorms, maybe some severe thunderstorms. We'll have to just watch it. I mean, this is Friday, so it's 6 days out. So a little more active pattern as you go into the day Saturday. That's hinting at another storm developing across the southern and central plains with a lot of rain, some heavier rain probably, and probably even some thunderstorms here and there. So yeah, that's about as far as I'll go. The models are kind of struggling once you get past about 6 days right now. So anyways, that's about all I've got. Getting warm in my car. Where I'm at here in Nevada, I won't say where I'm at, but it's like supposed to be close to 70 today, and it feels like it's that hot, getting that hot in the car. But it's been winter, so beautiful weather. We're getting sunny and like 60 something out there right now. All right, so hey, I'll try to do another video tomorrow. This is I appreciate you subscribers, those who watch and have patience with me. Sometimes this isn't the most interesting of subjects probably for everyone, but if you like weather, if you love weather, come here and check it out, man. I'd appreciate it. This is my passion. Wixman Ray out.